Have you ever felt like you are the only one trying in your relationship? The closer you get, the more he pulls away. 1 minute, he's kinda sweet, but the next one, he's distant, too busy, and he acts like he doesn't care. If this sounds familiar, you are probably dealing with an avoidant man. And here is the most important thing. If this dynamic happens over and over again in your relationships, there is a high chance you have an anxious attachment style. Here I really need you to understand this dynamic before we move on. We have an avoidant man and an anxious girl in this case. And these two attachment styles are like magnets. They attract each other and it's almost like they cannot live without each other. He is meant to show you something that you haven't seen for many, many years. Something obviously from your childhood. You know what, girl? The energy of repressed trauma, unresolved past emotions, difficult childhood experiences always seeks a way out. So the universe, God, your higher self, infinite intelligence, whatever you want to call it, something bigger than us, is gonna send avoidant man to teach you something, to show you something about yourself. So these avoidant men are usually attracted to us, women who have anxious attachment style. And I'm not gonna surprise you, girl, when I tell you that I am aware right now of my anxious attachment style, and obviously my boyfriend has what? An avoidant attachment style. But I have good news. Once you understand how it works, once you understand this dynamic, and once you dive deeper and look at your inner child, look at your wounds, then everything changes and this relationship can be very beautiful. We just need two things, actually two people, you and him. You both need to be conscious of what's happening, of what dynamic you are creating and what you are mirroring. Girl, before I tell you what to do and what not to do with an avoidant man, let's understand this avoidant, anxious dynamic. I wanted to say trap, but actually it can be a solution. It doesn't have to be your trap. You can break the pattern, you can break free. So let's focus on facts first. Attachment theory explains how we connect in our relationships based on our childhood experiences. So there are 4 main styles of attachment. So the first one is obviously secure. These people feel really safe in relationships. They don't need drama, they don't need games. If they feel disrespected, they leave. They set boundaries. They are secure within themselves. They have a high self-esteem, a lot of self-confidence. Let's go to the second attachment style, our avoidant man, right? So he fears too much closeness, too much connection. So when things get serious, he pulls away. He needed to be independent when he was a kid. He couldn't rely on his parents. So he needed to create this safe, falsely safe space within himself to protect him. For the second case scenario, which is not really talked about, but I think it's pretty common, is when this man experienced an overwhelming mother. It's usually about mother. It can be also about father. So he had a parent figure who was controlling, overprotective, and this mother usually was like this above him. So he needed to pull her away to kind of experience his own personality. We already know that the avoidant person is gonna usually attract the anxious person. So the third attachment style, the anxious attachment. A person with an anxious attachment craves closeness and connection. It doesn't come from a safe space within. It comes from the fear. It comes from the fear of abandonment. So you want him close because you are so afraid of being left alone. It can often feel that a person with an anxious attachment style is too much. And finally, the fourth attachment style is this disorganized style. In other words, fearful avoidant. So this person wants connection, but at the same time fears the connection. So this can create like a push and pull dynamic. In this video, we're obviously gonna focus on an avoidant-anxious dynamic because that's why you are here. Why exactly you are attracted to avoidant men? Well, because you guys trigger each other's deepest fears. Let me break it down for you. You crave connection, he fears connection. You want more communication, he feels suffocated by it. You try harder, he pulls away. The more you chase, the more he runs. It's nothing else but the familiar pattern from your childhood, where love felt inconsistent, conditional, unpredictable, and hard to earn. So it's not about him. It's about you learning how to break the cycle. What not to do with an avoidant man. Number 1, chasing him. Girl, double texting him, checking on him all the time is gonna only pull him away. Girl, please learn on my mistakes. Asking him all the time for reassurance like, hey baby, are we okay? Are you mad at me? Did I do something wrong? Will make him withdraw more, and more. Mistake number 2, over-explaining your feelings. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't say explaining your feelings. I say over-explaining your feelings. So most probably you think, if only I could make him understand me better, he will change. So if you over-explain your feelings, most probably unconsciously, you are looking for him to change. He is not gonna change until he wants to change. You will not change him. You can only change yourself. The third mistake, taking it personally. Girl, the truth is that he was like that before meeting you. So it's not personal. His behaviors, his actions, his opinions, his words do not reflect your worth. They simply do not. Let me tell you, I made all these mistakes when I started dating my boyfriend around 4 years ago. I was so anxiously attached and he was so avoidant. We were triggering each other so freaking much. But thank God we got conscious. We started understanding what is happening here, why we trigger each other so much. So I made all of these mistakes. I was chasing him, I was over-explaining my feelings, I was taking it personally. Sometimes I still do take it personally. But now I would say that I'm closer to the secure attachment than to the anxious one. But you know, it's a process. So for me, it's, oh my God, very hard, a lot of years of work, but it's totally possible. Consciousness means power. Don't blame yourself for these mistakes. You are learning. And do this exercise. Next time you try to fix things or control him or ask him for reassurance, simply stop yourself and like breathe. You can ask yourself, is it real or is it just my anxious attachment? Okay, so what actually works? What to do with an avoidant man? Number 1, give him space. When he pulls back, don't chase him. Give him space. Girl, let him miss you. Let him miss you. This is so powerful. And if you are an anxiously attached person, yes, it's gonna feel uncomfortable as hell. But I want you to bear with it. Bear with this uncomfortable feeling. It's most probably gonna be out of your comfort zone because you are so used to being so anxious about your relationship. But just bear with it. Give him space. And you will see, I tested it, you will see that when he gets back home, after the whole day, for example, of not texting, not calling, then he's gonna be like, oh my God, so good to see you. And even he's gonna tell you, I missed you. And here I need you to trust me. I tested it on myself, on my relationship, and it works. When I give him space to do his things, his job, his gym, whatever he wants to do, I trust that he's gonna come back to me. I trust that he's not gonna do anything crazy, because what for? I just teach myself to trust, and it works. Number 2, shift your focus to your life. Instead of obsessing over him, instead of texting him all day, build the life you love. Find some new hobbies, do yoga, meet your friends, whatever, you name it. Do whatever you want, but focus on yourself. Because if you focus on yourself, then you're gonna be more attractive to him even. You know why? Because if you love yourself, then he's gonna love you. If you abandon yourself to chase him, well, that can be difficult for him to chase you. You need to rewire your brain to find stability attractive, not inconsistency. Number 3, set clear boundaries and clear expectations. This is very important. Expectations. He needs to know that you want a serious relationship. If he just wants to play these games with situationships and stuff like that, and if you feel that it's not for you, you need to tell him. If you want consistency, tell him, hey, I need consistency. If you can't give me that, that's fine. I'm just gonna go away. But you need to tell me, you need to communicate with me clearly. In my opinion and from my experience, the worst that can happen is that you play this game like a cat and a mouse, you know, like Tom and Jerry. You chase each other, then you push each other away, and this is so exhausting. At least it was very exhausting for me. This was absolutely not for me. I could play these games for a while, but then I'm like, you are with me or you are not with me. Like, make up your fucking mind. Now, usually we have 2 scenarios here. When you set clear expectations, number 1, you can start building a conscious relationship based on conversations, vulnerability, sharing, talking, a healthy relationship where you work on yourself and he works on himself. We need 2 people here. It's not enough that you work on yourself and he doesn't. This is not gonna work. In my relationship, I work on myself very hard. I work on my trauma as well. So, you know, this is a very deep work, a conversation for a different video. And he works on himself very hard. When we trigger each other, because we trigger each other a lot, and most probably there is no other person in this world that's gonna trigger you more than your partner. That's true. We don't judge each other. We have like this capacity to understand our past relationships, and we have the capacity to talk. But it wasn't always like this for me, girl. I'm not like some goddess here, you know. This is simply years of work because I needed to go through a lot of relationships which were very, very dysfunctional, very toxic, before I understood the things that I'm sharing here with you. You know, a lot of relationships with narcissists, psychopaths even. That was tough. But that's why I'm here right now sharing with you. And the second case scenario is that he's not gonna like your expectations. He's not gonna like your boundaries, and that's fine. You know why? Because he's doing you a favor. If he doesn't want to commit to this relationship and you want a serious relationship, then he's doing you a favor. It wouldn't work. If you found this video useful, helpful, inspirational, and maybe even game-changing, consider subscribing to my channel. It's absolutely cost-free for you. It's gonna help me a ton. Comment on this video. Tell me what you think, what your situation is. You know that I love to chat with you in the comments. And girl, you got this. You got this. Hope to see you in my next one. Take care.